The CX-9 is Mazda's largest vehicle and is also their flagship model. With a seating for 7, you'll be able to enjoy a wide range of features inside the car.
And today we're going to find out why this SUV has such rave reviews and also what it's like to drive this behemoth on an everyday basis. Now, this is a new run-of-the-mill SUV from Japan. I mean, sure, it's got smaller engine as compared to the more expensive and luxurious German offerings. And yes, this particular model only has two-wheel drive. However, there are higher spec variants with all-wheel drive. Put all that aside, it really is quite a good-looking car. I mean, sure, it's massive. The wheelbase is almost 3 meters, the overall length is just over 5 meters. But that's the reason for all that bulk, and we'll dive into that later.
So for a car this large, you would usually expect a huge grille. However, I feel that the CX-9 actually has a very reasonably sized grille, and sure, all this chrome going on makes it look very shiny, but it's definitely not as gaudy as some other SUVs in the market. The slimmer LED lights are actually positioned high up on the bonnet, so the car looks even higher than it is. It's a good look. Around the back, you have an automatic tailgate which can be opened with the key or the button underneath. The sheet metal of the rear tailgate is actually a lot less striking than the front. But for such a large SUV, you're bound to stand out either way. When you step in the CX-9, you realize that everything is either covered in leather, satin metal trim, or rubber plastic. The dash is leather, the gear lever is leather, the door panels, the seats, and the center console.
However, where you don't see, there are some hard, scratchy plastics around the cabin, such as the B pillars, C pillars, and the cubby holes in the third row of seats. There are a few places where it kind of feels cheapened out. Well, the good thing is that they're quite hard to spot unless you really scrutinize them thoroughly.
The gauge cluster has physical dials and needles which displays basic information such as the fuel range and many more. The steering wheel controls are great as well, and I can actually control my phone with the Apple CarPlay system. And trust me, it actually gives you a lot of convenience when driving on the road.
And lest we forget, this car has seating for 7 adults, and I can vouch for that because Lawrence has sent me home a couple of times and it is just fine. And to top it off, the middle rows have captain chairs that allows you to adjust your seating however you like them to. You can push the chair backwards all the way and give yourself a ton of leg room, and you even have these retractable sunshades to give you a little bit more shade or privacy. Now the boot is pretty massive. With all the seats folded up, this car actually is 230 liters of luggage space. Now that is pretty decent for a 7-seater. We actually went on a cycling trip once and we managed to fit 3 full-size adult bicycles in the boot with the back seats folded down. You can also secure your cargo with these tie-down points dotted across the boot. Under the hood of the CX-9, you have a 2.5-litre engine, a 4-cylinder turbocharged unit that incorporates what Mazda calls the SkyActiv technology to get better performance and fuel economy.
So back to the driving experience. My family has had this car for quite a few months now. We've driven the Fortuner before this car, and I would say that this car is an upgrade from the previous car we had because in terms of the size, I mean, the Fortuner is huge, no doubt. It's taller, but you'll be surprised that this car is not as easy to drive as compared to the Fortuner. So what I like about this car is that this car comes with a ton of features, and with that I mean that they have lane assist, blind spot monitoring, and heads-up display, which is very practical, very functional for a driver. And on top of that, even though the infotainment system is a little bit too far out for me to reach, I can still use this cruiser to actually navigate through my way in the infotainment system, and it's honestly very convenient, very well thought for drivers. On top of that, I have this cushion console, center console here.
And the passenger has it as well?
Yeah, it's covered in Napa leather, very comfortable indeed. Another one would be the ventilated seats, and I really like it a lot. Having that ventilated seats is really very useful for passenger.
It's like an added comfort.
And a passenger, yeah. The passenger has it too.
Oh, is it?
And the aircon goes as low as 15 degrees. Perfect for Singapore weather.
Oh my god.
Oh yes,
I feel it.
Yeah. And not only that, you have heated seats, but you won't need it. You won't need it in Singapore. However, with all those pointers, the features that I enjoy, one thing that I'm not extremely, but rather disappointed in is that this car doesn't have auto hold, which means I have to put my foot on the brake when it comes to red lights, or just shift it to parking mode, which is not very convenient for me. I like cars that gives drivers a lot more
That makes your
convenience.
job easier for
because
you.
the exterior of the car do matter, but then the interior of the car matters more to me. And all these buttons are really very useful also. But yes, now that I just remembered, switching this car to sports mode gives you a lot more power, Listen to that. I don't know if you can hear, but it's really something.
You really feel
You really feel the
acceleration, yeah.
distinct difference when driving in normal mode and sports mode. That's all I have to say about this car. Overall, very happy. It's a 10 upon 10. An upgrade, definitely.
Interested in trying out the CX-9 yourself? Well, head over to our marketplace at UCARS.sg to make a booking today. You can also speak to us in real time with the live chat function. And since you're already at it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with our latest car review videos.
Thank you for staying tuned. Please do like and share this video. Until then, goodbye.
Bye! I mean, he has gone every time he brings his car to work. He'll be like, "Oh my god, look at that red car, it's so beautiful!"
No. I don't exaggerate like how... No, I don't do that.
Yes, you do.
I guess once or twice.